Rear Admiral Bill Schachte. I was assigned to the University of Rochester in the ROTC program. I was in the ROTC detachment, and I was given the duty of Casualty Assistance Calls Officer for Monroe County, New York. Fortunately, our skipper let me have other lieutenants share that responsibility, but we were the guys that would go to the house, knock on the door, and tell the wife or the family that, either critically serious ill, seriously wounded, or dead, or missing, or whatever. And those occasions were never good. I was given a pub to read about, you're going to be between the Department of the Navy and the family, so that's your role. And I didn't do that role very well. I used to cry with the families and all that, but I conducted the military funerals and got very close to some of the families through this experience. But it was strange, when I got to Vietnam, there were over 500,000 of us over there, and the first thought that occurred to me, why does it take 500,000 people to keep a friendly government in power? I mean, it just, because as it proved out, when we did pull out, as evidenced in John O'Neill's book, Unfit for Command, what the slaughter that took place, and tragically many who had worked with us, to their detriment. It was a horrible experience. So, and I was going to get out. I always wanted to go to law school. And we had a commanding officer there, Cliff Largess, who was a tremendous guy. He was an aviator, and we were embroiled in all this campus turmoil that was going on. We survived very well because he was a very good leader. The SDS was supposed to take over our building one day, and he called me at home, and he said, "Bill, on your way in, get a couple of dozen donuts. I'll pay you when you get here." And so when the SDS came marching in with their banners and all that, we met them with coffee and donuts. The place was open, and they kind of hung around for about 20 minutes and left. And the captain met him on the steps. He said, "If you people are really against death and destruction, you're against the American automobile." And but he was that kind of leader. But he told me, I found out about this excess leave law program, where you would go to law school for 3 years, pay your way through, but stay on active duty for purposes of retirement and the benefits. And so when I found out about that, I applied, and I was turned down. And the captain, I told him, of course, about it because he hadn't endorsed it. He said, "Look, that's a detailist decision. It's a four-person unit, four-man unit. And one of the guys was already selected for the program. So if I went, it was going to cut the unit in half." And he encouraged me to reapply, and I talked with my wife, and I reapplied, and I was accepted. And I, pulled back my papers for retirement. And I only applied to one school, University of South Carolina, from there, and graduated from law school, and then did criminal work for about 5 years. And one of my assignments that I really enjoyed was in Norfolk, the Command of Naval Surface Force Atlantic. We had 156 ships, and I would work every Saturday to talk with the executive officers on the various ships about legal problems, because they were busy during the week, and I knew that. I did that, and then I went into the master's program at George Washington University and studied comparative and international law. And after getting that degree, I went to the Pentagon, and I actually spent 12 years of my career in the Pentagon. I worked in the Office of Secretary of Defense, and was on the U.S. delegation to the UN Conference on the Law of the Sea. We met in Geneva at the UN in New York, and I did an awful lot of international travel with that. And then it came time, I was in zone for a flag and was selected, much to my amazement. And many of those who knew me, know me. And then I served as the assistant JAG, and then took over command of what is now NCIS, and that was a very challenging assignment. We did a lot of intelligence work, had an anti-terrorist alert center. We did a lot of work with the CIA and others overseas, Manila and places like that. And then I got my second star and served as deputy JAG. Then we had this thing called tail hook, and I was the survivor of that. They got the guy below me, the admiral below me, the admiral above, went home on time, but there was only one admiral in the JAG Corps, where there'd only been 3, and that was me. So I was the acting JAG, the deputy JAG, and the assistant JAG. Well, we had some captains that were doing a marvelous job filling all that, and I stayed in that situation for a year. And I remember at my retirement, Admiral Stan Arthur, who was the vice chief, was the speaker, and one line that he said, he gave me a beautiful, he wrote it himself, gave me a beautiful send-off. But one line I'll never forget, he looked at my wife and at my mother and my 2 sons and said, "You can have him back now." And so that was